The sound of approaching thunder fills the arena, mingled with the clinking of pole chains and the jangle of harness bells. The crowd draws a collective gasp, and their hearts race as the big hitch of draft horses rounds the corner and parades into view, their dinner plate-sized hooves shaking the ground in rhythmic cadence. Their movements are stately, powerful, their size impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the strong men of the horse world, the perennial showstoppers. These are the Belgian draft horses. The Belgian draft horse at his best is a spectacular equine, and are highly acknowledged as crowd pleasers. More and more big commercial companies are looking to the Belgian hitch as an effective and attention-getting advertising vehicle. What crowd won't stop what they're doing to pay homage to these ambassadors of the draft horse breeds? Many of these breeds' first imports were roundly criticized for being too thick, too low-headed, straight-shouldered, and round-boned. There was even an expression for it, the Dutchman's type. But even with his faults, those early Belgians made friends because they were easy keepers and willing workers with amiable dispositions. The American farmer decided that the breed's assets far outweighed its faults, and the American breeders set out to retain what was right and remedy what was wrong. The results of this initiative has been one of the great success stories in animal breeding. Today's Belgian is a big, powerful fellow that retains the drafty middle, a deep, strong foot, a lot of bone, the heavy muscling and amiable disposition possessed by early Belgians. His qualities as an easy keeper, a good shipper, and a willing worker are legendary. What, then, have the American breeders done to change them? They have developed a horse with far more style, particularly in the head and neck, with more slope to both shoulder and pastern, and the good, clean, flat bone that goes hand in hand with such qualities. The modern Belgian is still a great worker, and has become a great wagon horse. The fact that Belgians are equally effective in pulling competitions as in hitch competitions says it all. The impressive six-horse hitch is a particularly American invention. While European counterparts were using smaller hitches, Americans found that the six-horse hitch was especially practical for our larger farms and fields, as well as the longer distances required for travel and hauling cargo. Fortunately, the wider streets in our cities were well suited to the requirements of the larger hitches and enormous wagons. But there's a lot more to these gargantuan horses than meets the eye. Their remarkable versatility and power, as well as their gentle personalities, has endeared them to a whole new generation of farmers, foresters, families, and, yes, competitors. Did you know that Belgian draft horses outnumber all other draft breeds combined in the United States? We would like to acquaint you with the reasons Americans have accepted this breed so completely that it is the overwhelming national favorite among the draft breeds. The Belgian is no overnight success. Its popularity has been won over the last century on thousands of farms and ranches, in countless pulling contests and show rings, and on the streets of America, with hitches such as the one Adolph Coors Company uses to promote its products. In the early 70s, the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company recreated the legendary 40-horse hitch for the old Milwaukee Days celebration and circus parade. The well-known and highly accomplished long-line driver and Belgian breeder Dick Sparrow of Zeering, Iowa, was selected to drive this awesome sight as the 40 was recreated to the delight of the crowd. Not to be outdone, in the late 70s, the O's Gold Seed Company sponsored the Sparrow 40, but added another 8 Belgians at the Iowa State Fair. This staggering feat is a testament to the ability and temperament of 48 Belgians to work together as a team. The Belgian usually exceeds 16 hands in height and very often exceeds 18 hands. That's over 6 feet tall at the base of the neck or withers. It is a docile horse and a willing worker. The American Belgian has a relatively large head and short, feathered, muscular legs and large quarters. The feet are large and have minimum feather. In America, its color is usually chestnut, sorrel, or roan, with a white or blonde mane, tail, and points. Its weight averages between 1,600 and 1,800 pounds. Some stallions exceed 2,000 pounds. The original imports came in many color coats with a predominance of bay. About half of the first imports were bay and bay brown, followed by roan, chestnut sorrel, black, and even a few grays. This was no particular Belgian color at the outset. By the 20s and 30s, when the breed really hit its stride in this country, the breed had pretty well become the sorrels and roans. Now, there were a few roans and even the odd bay now and then, but for all practical purposes, it is a chestnut sorrel breed today. This has long been the preferred color by Americans, the Cadillac of colors being a chestnut or sorrel team with snow-white manes and tails with a white strip in the face and 4 white socks. This is the ultimate in draft horse style. The fact that Belgians are by far the most numerous of all draft breeds in this country, plus the fact that they're pretty much a one-colored breed, makes it easier to mate a horse and offers you a much bigger market when you wish to sell. With its solid build, willingness to please, and affable temperament, the Belgian draft is well suited for both traditional hitch roles and for draft horse competitions. Horse pulling is the most direct and basic competition there is. A team of horses is hooked to a load, and the team that can pull the heaviest load wins. Like weightlifting, it's a measurable sport. Not only is it measurable, it's exciting and impressive, and it is the very essence of draft horse competition. The legal distance of a pull is 27.5 feet, all accomplished in about 10 seconds. Early research by universities indicated that this was a safe distance for a draft horse to pull a heavy load without overly straining itself. Thus, it became the accepted length of a contest pull. Pulling competitions are the one-horse activity where silence is required during the actual pull. For about 10 seconds, the only sounds are the horses pulling into their leather harnesses, the snapping tight of the harness chain, the creak of the moving load, and the rhythmic cadence of the horses working in tandem. For those 10 seconds, the audience must hold their breath while the team of horses demonstrates their physical prowess. A good pulling horse requires special characteristics. In the early years, the only question asked was, can he pull? Soon after, the question was changed from, can he pull, to, does he have heart? Meaning the willingness and desire to pull. Personality and heart proved as important as the horse's physical characteristics. While the conformation of a pulling horse varies from hitch or halter horses, it is no wonder that the majority of competition pulling horses in the United States today are Belgians. The Belgians truly have heart. Competition with these gentle giants isn't limited to pulling competitions, and other activities are something the whole family can become involved in. At events like the annual Indiana State Fair in the heartland of the U.S., kids can demonstrate their growing equestrian management skills in the in-hand classes, where conformation, grooming, and presentation of the horse are all judged to meticulous standards. Children can learn volumes about horse management and presentation skills through the braiding and in-hand competitions during the state fair and other popular events throughout the U.S. There's been an amazing growth in the showing of the impressive six-horse hitch in recent years. They are on the cap sheaf of most of our great livestock shows in this country, such as Denver, the Big E in Springfield, Massachusetts, Keystone in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and the many great state fairs. Additionally, six-horse hitches are often used for commercial advertising, as are the fours and even the pairs teams. Many companies use a Belgian hitch as an advertising vehicle, since the Belgians are so spectacular. After all, what would a parade be without at least one team of impressive Belgians pulling an enormous wagon? They are most definitely crowd pleasers. While the six-horse hitch is jaw-dropping to watch, many people drive the Belgians as a four in-hand team, a unicorn hitch, which is 3 horses, in pairs, or as a single driving horse. Many drivers get their start driving a one-horse turnout and gradually work up to the multiple hitch combinations. Driving these Belgians can certainly be addictive. Just ask one of the drivers the next time you see a Belgian hitch. But if you think driving a 6-horse team takes skill, you'll marvel at the sight of a 12-horse working hitch, which is still seen throughout North America on some farms. Belgians are not simply show animals of either the prancing or the pulling varieties. They were originally developed as a breed of draft horses. The word draft refers to an animal's ability to pull heavy loads. While draft horses come in a range of sizes, it is the massive heavy drafts that have captivated the imagination of the general public and horse aficionados alike. Belgians are the definitive jack of all trades of the draft breeds, popular for logging and pulling carriages, wagons, and sleighs. However, they're overwhelmingly the most popular breed for use on farms. Farmers cite many reasons for using horses rather than mechanized equipment, including the following. They don't depreciate as rapidly nor break down as often as mechanized equipment. They do not compact the land as does heavy machinery. In a wet year, they can usually get on the land a few days earlier than tractors. They can work hilly ground that would be dangerous with a tractor. They help plant and harvest their own fuel, creating less dependency upon fossil fuels. They eat oats, hay, and pasture crops that can be homegrown and give back manure, which can be easily composted to feed future crops. They can work wet soil that would bog down the most willing tractor. They're capable of replicating themselves, which tractors can't do. Horses are pleasant to work with as they're quiet, intelligent, more ecologically sound, and alive. They offer companionship, are happy to see you each morning, and are far more lovable than mechanized machinery. The Belgian draft horses enjoy having a job. Horses, of course, do require a certain level of care year-round, as well as requiring a higher level of management to work with compared to tractors. But experienced teamsters who work with these horses each day insist the benefits far outweigh the disadvantages. As our ecological awareness grows, there's an increasing interest in using draft horses in logging operations. In the old days, this was the norm. Now, however, machines do most of the work. Unfortunately, the damage from the logging doesn't come from the cutting of the trees, but rather from extracting the logs from the woods. The logging machinery takes a heavy toll on the land. Far less damage is done by these horse loggers. There are a variety of benefits to horse logging. Horses cost less than big logging machines, and that can make it more economically feasible for landowners who wish to cut just a few trees at a time. It's been shown that reduced soil compaction and disturbance to the forest floor by the avoidance of heavy machinery can increase production of residual trees by as much as 35%. Additionally, logging with horses is certainly more aesthetically pleasing. Imagine no noisy tractors, no pollution, and a lot less damage to the environment. It's important to note that horse logging is an alternative to taking heavy machinery into the woods, especially when clear cutting is not the objective. While it's unrealistic to expect horse-powered logging to replace the mechanical kind, in places where preserving the landscape is important, using the draft horse as a source of power is a very viable alternative. Horse logging may be a new idea for many landowners, but the method is helping to meet today's demand for wood while keeping the land in good shape for future generations. Compared with clear cutting, there is virtually no collateral damage and/or exposure to hillside erosion. Belgians, the most direct lineal descendants of the great horse of medieval times. They are the horses that carried armored knights into battle. The Belgian, as the name implies, is native to the country of Belgium. This little country is blessed with fertile soil and abundant rainfall, providing the thrifty farmers of Belgium with the excellent pastures and the hay and grain necessary to develop a heavy, powerful breed of horses. Belgium lies in the very center of that area of Western Europe which gave rise to the large black horses known as Flemish horses, and were referred to as the great horses by medieval writers. Such horses were known to exist in that part of Europe in the time of Caesar. They provided the genetic material from which nearly all of the modern draft breeds were fashioned. Stallions from Belgium were exported to many other parts of Europe as the need to produce larger animals of draft type for industrial and farm use was recognized, and the government of Belgium played a very energetic role in doing just that, establishing a system of district shows culminating in the Great National Show in Brussels, which served as an international showcase for the breed. They also established committees for stallions standing for public service. The result was a rapid improvement in a fixed breed type as the draft horses of Belgium came to be regarded as both a national heritage and quite literally a treasure. But in the U.S., the Percheron, Clydesdale, and Shire all enjoyed a substantial head start in popularity. In 1903, the government of Belgium sent an exhibit of horses to the St. Louis World's Fair and the International Livestock Exposition in Chicago. While this effort was attended by plenty of controversy over which type of horse best suited Americans, it also generated a great deal of interest in the breed. From that point forward, the breed's acceptance grew steadily. The year 1910 shows a total of 1,773 registrations, with virtually every major importer in the country, including Belgians, in his offering. A record high for the pre-World War II period was hit in 1937, the golden anniversary of the association, when 3,196 Belgians were recorded. This was followed by a precipitous decline as we engaged in World War II. All draft breeds declined, touching bottom in the early 1950s. Since then, registrations and transfers made slow but steady gains until in 1980 they surpassed the previous high set in 1937. The average for the 5 years from 1981 through 1985 was over 4,000 registrations and nearly 6,000 transfers, easily the greatest 5-year period in the breed's history. That is where you find the Belgian horse today, way out in front. The American Association was officially founded in February of 1887 in Wabash, Indiana. The breed's offices are still in Wabash. The friendly staff and national network of breeders and owners are more than pleased to share their knowledge and wealth of experiences with anyone interested in learning more about this special breed. Whether you're contemplating the purchase of one Belgian or a team of draft horses, we invite you to visit one of the Belgian breeders in your area. Or always feel free to speak with the Belgian exhibitors at your local fairs and shows. Selling Belgians is one of the reasons they show. It is for the owners and breeders show and tell time. Whether your purpose is that of work, show, advertising, or just pleasure, we know you'll find Belgians to fit your needs. this versatile breed did not become America's favorite draft horse by being second best. Go with a winner. Go with Belgians. For more information about this magnificent breed, contact the Belgian Draft Horse Association at 260-563-3205 or visit us online at www.belgiancorp.com.